Welcome to the Healing Corner podcast, where we're having honest conversations in a safe place since 2022.
I'm excited. I'm excited because there's so much coming in that needs to happen,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, when is a better time than
Yeah,
now?
right
Let's
now.
make it happen. Let's do this thing,
Yeah, yeah.
Welcome to the Healing Corner podcast, y'all. I hope y'all are doing well. And let's go ahead and get started with this topic, y'all. I have with me Coach Yams. So I'm going to give her a chance to introduce herself and just give background on what she does. And then we'll go ahead and get started, guys.
Yes. Hello, friends. Thank you for joining us again for another episode of the Healing Corner podcast. I am Coach Yams. Yamana is my government name, if you need to know. And I'm out here helping women to make more money in leadership roles or in work that they care about doing. And just stop doing shit out of obligation, to live life in their way, on their terms, how they see fit, dreaming big and all that good stuff. And so, yeah, here we are having another conversation about something that so many of us do, but nobody really talks about it. And I'm sick of hearing people say sorry.
Okay, well, I do want to introduce myself in case you guys do not know. I'm Deborah Williams, the owner of the Healing Corner, also the Healing Corner, Intuitive. Excuse me, I'm getting nervous here, y'all. But so what we're gonna do is go ahead and talk about this topic. And I feel like, just like how I just did, this is a perfect example of what we're talking about here. Our culture is surrounded around this. It's like a lot of times I feel, guys, that we say this and we don't even realize we're doing it, So I feel like this is something that we need to get the awareness out for, so that we can take responsibility for the things we need to take responsibility for versus the things that we're taking responsibility for when it's not really necessary. So,
Absolutely.
all right. What do you have to say about this, Coach?
So, this is something I've watched a video. We posted it on our Instagram and Facebook recently. But so many people are going through life, and because they don't want to feel uncomfortable, because they don't want to experience tension, because they've not been allowed to take up space in life, whatever the case may be, so many of us are moving through this world feeling the need to apologize just for being. And you don't owe somebody an apology because, I don't know, because you got to the front of the line first and y'all were coming from two different angles. Like, there's no reason to apologize for that. If you stepped on my toe, if you bumped into me, spilled a drink on me, something like that, that's apology worthy. But just apologizing because, I don't know, you said something, you accident, whatever the case may be, we are apologizing way too much. That's what I know. And I mean, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. You go into a restaurant and somebody's standing there in line, and maybe you say, hey, have you already been seen, or have you talked to somebody already, or somebody might cut in front of you. People are not out here like, well, I don't know. I don't feel like most people are operating with ill intent to, like, purposefully do malicious shit like on a daily basis. Like, there's some psychopaths out here, but I don't feel like that's most of humanity.
Yeah. And I was gonna say too, I feel like a lot of times we apologize around people that we don't know versus people that we do know, because I feel like a lot of times the people that are closest to you, those are the ones that really genuinely possibly need an apology from you, and it could be on something more deeper and something that is actually related to. But then on the outside, we're apologizing to people that we don't really know too much about. I mean, they could probably care less about ever seeing you again. And I
That's
feel
right.
like I find that kind of strange in a way. I mean, when you sit back and you really think about it, but it also affects the community in whole, because at the end of the day, it's like we're reflecting on each other. We're kind of just, showing that there's something going on in your surroundings, or there's a awareness that we need to be aware of by having these things, being seen in that type of light.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, it just, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like the difficult conversations, I feel like that's what it is. I feel like people don't want to be faced with the difficult conversations of what you really need to apologize for. So
Yeah.
subconsciously that must be what it is that we're doing, when you do that.
Yeah, over apologizing for everything else instead of apologizing for what actually is apologize worthy.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, something that, has been in my recent experience is that the ones who, I feel like there are people who apologize all the time. And I feel that there are people on the other extreme who never want to apologize. And then when they do apologize, is it an apology? Because it is likely laced with a backhanded compliment or something like that. And it's like, I apologize, but you're the reason why XYZ happened. So it's not even an apology.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. And I think that it happens more often to the closer relationships, because if you look in your life, you know what I'm saying? And this is just me going off of experience.
Mhm.
When I look at things in my life, a lot of times it would be the closest people that, either I myself need to apologize to, or that they need to apologize to me. And it reflects back, because it's almost like I don't know. It kind of goes back into like the chemistry of things, the energetic flows
Mhm.
and stuff like that too. I think it has something to do with it. The longer you've been around the energy, that also has a lot to do with it. It's like a lot of different variables when it comes to energy and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm just wondering, like, how how have you grown in how you choose to apologize versus not apologizing? Like, when do you have a conversation with yourself before you're like, oh, I need to like acknowledge a thing out loud, or do you just, how do you handle apologizing?
And that's a good thing to bring awareness to too, you guys. Like, anytime that you feel that, is it something that you're thinking about?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we're not thinking about it. You just
Yeah.
automatically, do it. Because when you start thinking too hard, you might not do it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like going
Yeah.
to a cliff, like running when you run into the cliff. And it's like, are you going to jump? Because you gonna have to decide, because eventually you're gonna get to this end. Are you about to stop running? Because if you're gonna
Yeah.
stop running, you need to do that now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do believe that there is power in apology and there is value in it, but it's so cheapened when it's just the thing that you always say. And I want to say that women apologize, especially like moms. I have friends that have kids, and so they may not get back to a text message or call me back because they're being fucking moms. They're busy. And I understand, you're a mom, you got little kids that you running around after. That's time consuming, energy consuming, all the things. I'm not going to be the person that's like, oh, she doesn't care about our friendship because she didn't get back to me. That would be selfish. And so, like, in addition to the apologizing, like, people having and communicating their understanding of someone not needing to apologize for those simple things, I think is how we're going to start to undo feeling this like default apology culture that we've fallen into.
And I
And
like that.
I was going to
Oh,
say, it's something like, even with like, if you have somebody that works a different time of day than you, if you're waking up in the middle of the afternoon because that's when you get up for your day, I'm not fucked up with the fact that you just now text me back. I've been up since whatever time, but I also work first shift, so that changes things. And so, like, taking it a step further and having that additional understanding and consideration for what the other person has going on in totality in their life and communicating that to them.
I like that. I like that. And I like how the plug in how what you said about consideration, because that's another part of things that is not done much, the more closer it seems like you get to a person. It's like, oh, that's another reason why marriages are so high ranked in being, divorced and broken up, separated, and all this different types of stuff, is because of not feeling like they're being considered, you
Yeah.
know. Somebody wanting someone to feel, as though they had to owe them this type of consideration, but you don't do it back to your person. So
Yeah.
it, like, all this stems from the same cloth, like how we're showing up even in the world. And then our kids, kind of to go back to what you were saying about mothers and the children are
Mhm.
watching us. Sometimes these mothers, you might mess up. And I've had to check myself for this a few years ago. I was like, if I mess up, I need to apologize to my daughter. People don't want to do that. They
Yeah.
feel like, oh, because I'm the mom, I'm the dad, I'm not going to apologize. But then you'll go into a
Yeah.
store and apologize to somebody who doesn't give a crap about you after you know what I'm saying, maybe did something like how you said, cutting the line, or not even cutting the
Yeah.
line, just being in front.
Yeah.
So it's really, we need to bring awareness to this and be able to stop it so that this can't continue to keep being the reality of what it is here right now.
Yeah. Well, and because it's not serving anybody, honestly,
Mhm.
because the world is full of so much noise and crap, and words matter. And so saying sorry and not even meaning it, like, what is that energetically? Like, how is that landing in your body? What are you doing with that? Are you thinking, are you even thinking about it? Like,
Mhm.
the awareness that is, oh, this car felt like he had to get over right now. That was wild. um the
Wow.
awareness that, like, frees you when you take stock and step back and say, okay, what's really important, what's not, what am I apologizing for, is an apology even needed, did I do something wrong? Taking the time to just have that conversation with yourself before blurting out I'm sorry, it yeah, we can bring value back to sorry. It can
Mhm.
actually mean something.
And then I feel like also it could be seen as like spiritual warfare in a way, because it's like we're blocking ourselves from being able to experience what we really need to be experiencing. Because if we think about what the world would look like if we all were able to experience the right type of energies, like somebody
Yeah.
actually apologizing to you when they actually needed to apologize,
Yeah.
versus you maybe even going into the bank or something, and the bank teller is the only person back there, and then there's
Hmm.
a ton of customers, and you getting upset and mad, like, why can't they move faster? You
Yeah.
getting frustrated and mad and feel like they owe you something. That's another
Yeah.
thing, because people feel as though they owe someone an apology because they can feel the energy of someone feeling as
Yeah.
though I need to hear this. And
Yeah.
then even businesses, like, you train your employees to say, well, the customer is always right. Is the customer always right though? Not
Hell
all
no.
and let's be real. But it's like,
Yeah.
but that's the thing, that's the culture, that's the way that it's all ran. Like, well, let's just say that.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's just so many different ways you can look at it, and you see examples in different parts of the world too, and even
Hmm.
just where we're at. We happen to be in the America, so it's a little bit different than other places, but things are changing all the time. So it's
Yeah.
like, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. And the world is ever changing. We're ever evolving. And so with the world changing in the ways that it is in bigger ways, the smaller changes matter too. And so making these micro changes is gonna be able to shift the collective.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, for sure. Um,
Yeah.
I like that. So I don't know if you guys want to participate and talk about this. Check out the comment section down below. Leave us the
Mhm.
comment. We'll get back to you if you have any questions or anything, because I know some people aren't going to catch this live. So if you do come after the fact, if you're watching the replay, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you
Yeah.
share. We're a halfway point right here.
Yeah.
So.
That's what I say.
Yeah,
DM us, whatever.
yeah,
Yeah. We
yeah. Send us
respond to all the things. It's us. It's us
for
responding.
sure, for sure, for sure. And I was also gonna talk about like the dynamics when it comes to being in what do you call those kind of like a third party connections in a way.
And
I was in a well, I'll give y'all an example why I'm talking about this. I was in a class with a travel agent, and she was kind of telling me like the different things that she does on a daily basis and stuff like that for her business, because basically she's independent contractor. So she's like a third party, and she sees herself, she's the person that's pretty much doing all this apologizing because things did not come in the way that it was supposed to come in, like how it didn't deliver the way that she possibly tried to make it land. And I was just thinking, I said, wow, and for her job, she's trying to make it so that people can have fun, because most of these people that's coming through, they coming on vacation. This is supposed to be a joyous time.
mm-hmm.
But then on the other hand, when I hear her stories, it's like there's a lot of things that's going wrong with this, just because
Mm-hmm.
she can't help it. She's apologizing to the customers or apologizing to the other
Yeah.
third party for not being able to get everything through right, and
Yeah.
to me that's like a example of your whole career being surrounded around over apologizing.
Yeah. That's wild. That's wild. And it is like customer service jobs. Those folks are in those positions essentially to be like bottom tier apology employees to make people feel better because somewhere along the line something's gone wonky. And like, so like if you're an event planner and the event was supposed to go a certain way and you fail to do certain things on your end, apologizing makes sense. But if you've done all the things, an apology isn't necessarily what would be the fit. It would be, let's have a conversation about what happened. Let me show you how I've executed all the things, and shit happens.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. Like, I'm a notary also. I'm a mobile notary also. I had an appointment this week and we rescheduled 3 times before it actually happened. And she was apologetic and I was like, girl, life happens. Like,
Yeah.
I get it. She had someone had gotten sick and so she had to cover their shift. It ain't your fault that they got sick. It's okay. I swear it's okay.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's just, we, in addition to apologizing for ourselves, we also apologize for other people. Another way that this is a thing is like with the dynamics of kids. Sometimes if one parent is showing up and the other parent is not showing up in the same way, one parent feels obligated to apologize for that other parent to rectify that situation. And that's not a way to handle that, because that teaches kids that somebody needs to say sorry to me for how I feel, when that's not the actual fix. The fix
Yeah.
is to bring that conversation to that parent. Maybe that child and parent have a age appropriate conversation and get an understanding of what they want from the relationship. Because I mean, at the end of the day, we're all in relationship, be it with ourselves or with other people. And communicating our needs, because nobody is a mind reader, is what this is going to take. And so, yeah, that's my little sprinkle there.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, over apologizing is actually is stemming from like culture of being traumatized too, if you think about it, because it's
Absolutely.
like the more that if you think about what people that over apologize too much, a lot of times is because they never received apologies, or
Yeah.
and this is outside of work, and this is just your own personal life, just like how you were saying, not being able to make appointments. So sometimes you do feel bad because you realize you had somebody else's time that but at the same time you have to realize, what did it really harm this person? Because 9 out of 10 it didn't. But I
Yeah.
guarantee there's somebody in your life, either they harmed you or you feel as though resentment. That's another thing. This can also lead to resentment, this over apologizing stuff. Because it's like we're putting the energy in the wrong spot. You gotta redirect it in the spot that it needs to be in, so that
Mm-hmm.
it life can be a more, I wouldn't say it's going to be peace, complete peace, y'all, but it's definitely going to make a little bit more sense.
It can be more enjoyable for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, at this point, for me, it feels like apologies are a band-aid over a bigger problem. Like,
Yeah.
I don't give a damn about your apology, especially if it's not paired with your actions being different.
There we go. That's true.
So,
That's true.
because people want to
And
apologize, and it's like, oh, but you're still doing the same thing. And I don't, the lip service, it don't do a thing for me, honey. It don't do a thing for me, except for make me want to distance myself because you're not safe and trustworthy.
yeah, that's it. That's it. And the more that people are trained to, not even trained, but the more that people can see it in their everyday life and actually wake up to it, because it's not even about being someone showing you anything. This is really about you seeing it for your own self. Because even as
Self-awareness.
a child, what was that?
Self-awareness.
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because even as a child, you can feel like when, someone owes you an apology,
Yeah.
we got to think about that. When you were a kid, I guarantee you, when things were going on with you felt like you were wronged or somebody did something wrong to you, you wanted that apology, but you didn't
Yeah.
get it. And so now you're a grown adult and you looking at everybody around you with resentment or having some type of issue, and then you go to your job and you apologize to some random person that just happened to come in, maybe didn't even buy anything, they might not even been a customer, they could have just
Yeah.
walked past, but you
Yeah.
apologize to them though.
Yeah.
So these are the things we got to think about.
Yeah. I was going to say also another example. I had a situation recently in which I, what is the word I'm looking for? I inadvertently um, hurt a friend, not like deeply, but like in a way that was like, I'm feeling some type of way and I want to have a conversation. And
Mhm.
so when that was presented to me, in my mind, I was like, okay. And also, this person has been vulnerable with me and shared that something that I did hurt them or upset them. And so I talked through, like, the intent behind whatever and all the things. And then at the end, I was like, and also, I just want to take a moment to say thank you for bringing this to me. And I apologize
Yeah.
because that was never my intention. And I would
Yeah.
never do anything to jeopardize our connection because I value it. And
Yeah.
so if you're going to apologize and you're going to mean it, do it with a heartfelt nature,
Yeah. Yeah.
because that's going to mean more and go further than just a little, sorry, don't,
Mhm.
sorry. Sorry,
Exactly.
not sorry. It's like give sorry, not sorry.
Mhm. Yeah, very much so, very much so. And then I was gonna also talk about like kind of how you were saying like the intimacy of your connection, being in a close connection. It's like that's the I think people are so afraid of being rejected from those type of energies too, and they know if it's not going to matter if I say sorry to
Mhm.
somebody who isn't truly connected to me. So it's like
Yeah,
a disconnection, like how you said sorry not sorry,
yeah,
like it's downplaying the value of what an actual apology actually is, a genuine apology. So
yeah.
then again, like to kind of go back with what you said, Yams, is like people don't really honor it because they're like, everybody's doing that.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. And
Everybody's doing that.
yeah, I was gonna say it was important for me to do that and to demonstrate that because that's not been my experience
Mhm.
always. I have had a lot of people in my life that, well, I'm sorry, but it's your fault type of thing. And I've grown so much and I know what it feels like to not be apologized to properly. And so I cannot very well ask for that outside of myself if I'm not then willing to give that to other people in this world in return.
Mhm.
So being the example I want to see. And just
That's
because you
it.
ain't had the example doesn't mean that you can't demonstrate that example, that you try it out. Hell, worst case scenario, you don't like the way it fits and you get better at the wording of it. But all of this is practice. We ain't all got, none of us have this figured out.
Yeah.
And we just have to practice at it to get better at it.
For sure, for sure. And you know, it stops with you. Just say that. It stops with me. The madness stops with me. Because then that's when you get into that energy of, you know, how they talk about breaking generational curses and stuff. It doesn't have to always just be, oh, well, my family did this. This is a cultural thing. This is going on all over the place. You know what I'm saying? So we have to take a responsibility. Somebody got to take responsibility. Because if you don't, then what, your grandkids gonna take responsibility? What's the world gonna look like? You know, you think about all the years that have went by, and we're evolving all the time. We're always upgrading. So this is an upgrade. You know, upgrading to a place in the world where we don't have as much of this going on. Maybe if you decide to do it today, what is the world going to be like? You know?
Yeah. And then when you extend that grace to somebody else and you give that apology that they've never experienced, you give them something that they can then go and give to the next person. It's a gift that can keep on giving, and it's so small. It doesn't cost a damn thing, except maybe a little bit of your pride and ego. And you could probably lose a couple pounds on that thing, if we're being honest.
And actually, you know, if you think about it, the more that we have genuine apologies, the more healing people will receive, because some people are holding resentment for people for 20, 30 years, you know, and it's like all you had to do was actually genuinely mean something, you know what I'm saying? And then that way both parties can separate in peace and just know that, you know, this was a lesson that was learned. This was a step. And then it's funny, my lights just reset. It's like you're resetting, you know, allowing yourself to have a clean slate. And it's not always be easy, you know, but at least you'll be able to move past something. You've learned something now.
Yes.
For sure.
And I've enjoyed this conversation, and I'm looking forward to when our guest is on next week, Lindsay, because she's going to bring an additional bit to this conversation around like divorce and family and just some of her experiences and turning things around and living life unapologetically. Because that's where we're headed towards. We've been apologetic, and now it's time to live unapologetic.
Yes.
Unless there's a real reason to apologize.
Exactly. So you guys definitely want to stay tuned to us. We're going to be having that on the 26th of this month. So we always broadcast the 2nd and the 4th Saturday of each month. So make sure that y'all put that in your calendar. Just know that we're going to be here chopping it up. If you want to individually work with either one of us, you can definitely check out Coach Yams at www.chatwithyams.com. You can check me out at www.debshealingcornerstone.com. And you can book with us if you guys want some like an individual helping or somebody to just talk to. Like if you just want to talk to us, you definitely can send us an email. Everything through those websites, you can contact us through there, y'all. All right. So we'll go ahead and end it here. I mean, unless you have some ending things that you want to talk about, Yams.
I got nothing. I've enjoyed this conversation, and I always enjoy us getting together because it's always a vibe. And we'll do it again in 2 weeks.
Look, shout out to her. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and talk to you guys on the next Saturday. Peace.
Take care.